Hi, it's me. I'm back. And a late hand wave. What you are about to witness is a story as spooky as no other could possibly be. This is the tale of me encountering shadow creatures. The first recording was done in May of this past year, or the beginning of June. And it was the very last time that I have ever seen the shadow creatures. So I've actually been seeing these things. I call them shadow creatures, shadow people. Probably could call them other things. Entities. And the second recording was done in August because I realized I had a lot more to say, or I couldn't just throw up the one video of me whispering and being weird, being all scared afterwards. So I am mostly talking like this, but I didn't realize that the first recording was me whispering. So there will be a point where I start to talk like this. I start to talk and whisper. So I apologize. I would have rather it been either all whispering or talking like this, but whatever. And all that I can say, this is just going to be the intro. All that I'm going to say, I guess, is that I believe the reason I was seeing these things, it wasn't just visual. It was very much like they felt real, and there's like a paranoia that came along with it at different times. So I believe that the reason that this was happening was that I had a heart or brain event in the end of May, or the beginning of May. I don't know. It was so long ago. It was a long time ago. So I either had a heart event or a head event. I'm beginning to think now that what was happening, I think maybe something in my neck was giving me was pinching a nerve or something, and it was keeping me from getting blood to the head and blood to the heart. And so what I realized, so because when I would see these entities, it was when I was walking, and I would see, I'd have my head down when I was walking, and I think I have that because I'm always at this desk. I had that forward head posture. I'm trying to rectify it. It's hard with this old style of, this is my dad's old chair. I need one of those like gamer chairs, or I need some chair that makes you sit up straight and you sit like this, like you're a crazy person. Because this is the only way that I could retain good posture. So there you go. That's my theory right now. But who really knows? The truth is that even though I was seeing these things, I definitely felt like they were real and that they were responding to me and wanting to interact. Especially the one time where they were more, an evil guy was trying to get at me. The other times were a little bit more like less about me. So anyways, there you go. We're going to jump into my intro of my August video, because I did two other videos. The one where I saw the things and I was all scared, and then the second one in August. And then here I am in October trying to finish it up. Like I'm super into trying to make things as difficult for myself as possible. So I'll see you at the end. I'll say bye-bye. Alright, so goodbye to the second part. Bye. I saw on neuropsychology subreddit someone brought up, oh man, well, this is the problem with leaving it up for too long. So the post has been removed by the moderators. I can still read all the comments, but I can't read the original post. So I don't know, but I can read the title. So the title of the post is "My friend sees shadow people when trying to sleep. Please do not remove, as I did not break the rules." I think maybe they decided you did. Can you tell me more? Google failed me. Maybe I'll look at this guy and see if he posted this somewhere else. I want to know. I want to talk about the shadow people. I want to talk about the shadow people. I'll still talk about my shadow people. And like I said, I can see the comments. Unfortunately, your post has been removed as it is seeking or providing specific medical recommendations, interpretations, or advice, rather than general information. Informational requests or comments about a personal experience, symptom, or disorder are allowed on this subreddit. However, we do not allow posts that are seeking or providing specific medical advice or treatment recommendations. Alright. So I'll go to read some of the comments on the post. Okay. Hypnopompic hallucinations are possible and quite normal. I don't know if a sleep specialist subreddit, but those are the people you are looking for. Hypnagogic, when falling asleep. Hypnopompic is when you are coming out of sleep. Okay, so I'll start to talk about I have had experiences with shadow people or shadow creatures. Anyways, for me, I do think the one, I don't remember if I brought this up or if I felt like that was too much, because there's a part of me going like, how much is this memory? How much am I making up? I do think I had the red glowing eyes version of the shadow creature, and I had that one, and then I had another one that was more like, I thought it was a small animal, and then I was like, well, no, it was a shadow. And then I was like, no, it's just my eyes playing tricks on me. Like, it was weird how to describe it. And then the last shadow entity that I encountered, which did seem like a shadow appeared in front of me, and then I turned around because I was like, what did I do? The way the light was cast, it was something behind me, and so I saw a shadow move across the sidewalk, and I turned around, and this is all at like 12 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., something like that, because I go for like late night walks. And I turned around and I saw a shadow creature man, a shadow man, walk and then stop at the end of the sidewalk. And it looked three-dimensional. I thought it was a man, but in shadow. But the more I looked at it, the more I was like, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't look real. And also, the person just stopped. And then the person started to look like, and my brain went, that's a shadow person. Like, that's not a person. Like, but a part of my brain was going, no, I don't know how to say this. It's like half of my brain was going, that's a person, obviously. And then half my brain was going, that's not a person. I don't know what that is. I'll play the video. I'll play parts of the video now about that. So, it's me. I'm back. And I just got back from a walk I said, about a month ago, I had these chest pains and these issues, and I was actually very afraid. And ever since then, I've gone for walks at night, and I have occasionally just, my eyes are playing tricks on me. It started with like small things, like I would see shadows moving across the ground, and it would kind of it would confuse me, and I thought like I was seeing like an animal or something run across, and I'd be like, what the fuck, what is that? Like run across like the sidewalk, and I'd go, whoa, what is that? And then I'd go, oh, that was a shadow, but then I'm like, there's no way that there's a shadow, right? Because like the light source doesn't make the shadows move the way I was seeing it, and so I just played it off as like, oh, I guess like my eyes are playing tricks on me, and it's just weird. About a week and a half ago, I'm walking, and something steps out in front of me, and I'm confused, and like my brain is trying to put everything together, and it's like very big, but it's small. Like I don't mean that it's like a kid size. I'm 5'7". It would be like 4 foot something, and something steps out in front of me, and I just see something, and it actually like it startled me, and I stopped, and I'm like, what? Because I'm trying to figure out like, is that a person, like what, and who's stepping out in front of me? And it kind of, I was not on the sidewalk at that point. I was on the main road, and it was probably around like 12:30 or 1, and from there, like I thought like my brain was going through all the like, is it a person? What is that? It's a creature. And then I'm like, no, and then it kind of like, it's hard to explain, but it just, again, I went from, oh, this is a thing that's in front of me, to I'm just seeing things. And I'm like, whoa, that was weird. That was really weird. It came out of nowhere. That was strange. But no, there's nothing there. And I guess I'm just gonna keep walking. Like, okay, well, that was this time. I'm walking outside. It was about 30 minutes ago. I'm walking and I'm listening to AirPods, and I'm just like, my brain is thinking about, I'm actually kind of depressed and thinking about very negative things, feeling sad, feeling like my life is over and stuff like that. It keeps going with this. So I was really like getting like depressed. I'm not like, okay, I'm not thinking, I think about unaliving myself sometimes, not for real, but like it just pops into my head, and when I get depressed, I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking like, what am I gonna do, and what's the point of being alive? And I guess I was thinking more about how in the past I would think about unaliving myself, and now I don't think about it, but I also just kind of feel like my life is over for some reasons. And while I was walking down the sidewalk, all of a sudden I see a shadow move across the ground in front of me, and the light source was back here. So I knew that like whatever I'm seeing, it's being cast by this thing back here. So I turn around. I got chills right now. Like I feel so stupid and embarrassed, but holy shit, this thing had me freaked out. This has me freaked out. So I turn around, and there is like a human figure, and it walks down the sidewalk and stops at the end of the sidewalk. And now the sidewalk, the way it was going, like, I'm being a weirdo, but they're not changing direction. And I keep staring at them, and as I'm staring at them, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, something seems very, very, very off. I don't know, because they just stopped. They just walked and stopped. And didn't look over, just stopped. Again, this shit has not ever happened until my heart issues. And, like, I can't explain it, but it feels like these are three-dimensional shadows, and it's freaking me out. And the thing is that I was so freaked out. Like, I never turned my back on it, and I kept like going around, and I'm like looking, and at some point, I don't know when it disappeared, but at some point, maybe just like in a blink, and then it's gone. But it was so physically there. It was so physically there. And so I went back, and I couldn't just turn around and keep walking. I was too freaked out. So I went around, and I went to the other side of the road into the sidewalk, started walking down this direction, all the while like looking over, looking around, going like, where did the person go? Where did this person go that I just saw? Like, what is happening? And then eventually I came back onto the other side, still looking everywhere, like going like, I saw something. And then at one point, and I didn't go back originally to the sidewalk, but I started walking the other direction, and all the while turning, and keep walking and turning, to try to like, either recreate, like, I was like, I'm sure that some shadow just cast somewhere, and I'll be able to see where it cast, and be able to put it together in my mind what happened and stuff like that. And I didn't. I couldn't. And I went around, and I actually did it one more time, and this time I did it. Like, again, it's like weird, because it's like I feel like kind of a kid, but like I'm like trying to recreate exactly, like, get onto the sidewalk, and all the while I'm like freaking, I'm like, oh my, like, when you're, even as an adult, maybe you walk down a hallway, but it's dark, and you just have this feeling like someone's behind you, and they're gonna get you, and you're like, no, nothing's behind me, that's stupid, that's dumb, but you're like, shit, and you just kind of like walk a little bit faster, and the whole time you're feeling like an idiot. That's exactly my experience of what just happened. my story. I don't know what's going on. That's it. Bye. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I didn't really describe I described the thing that had freaked me out that night. So I basically was walking. I came back home and had an experience with a more humanoid shadow creature. And when I got back, I just turned on the camera and started talking. And I didn't describe what I had seen earlier in the month in a better way. Partially because even at that point, I was not, it had already, 3 weeks had passed, and I was thinking, is my brain bringing up is it adding things? And I can't be 100% sure. And so, even from there, now it's been probably 3 months or more. And so I don't know if I've added even more stuff. And I also didn't really I didn't go into how there was probably 2 or 3 other events where something was running across the ground. Something small. I mean, I brought up that it had happened, but I guess part of the problem was that I'm not very good at explaining because it was so surreal and it was so it happened so quickly. And so I kind of just hand waved it away. So I was walking around. I'm going to talk about the one creature, shadow figure thing. I was walking around this one area. It's not a very hilly place where we're at right now, but there is one kind of hill. I was walking around a circle and then going down another street. Right as I'm coming around, and then I'm about to turn to the right to go down the street, and I was not on the sidewalk. I just walk on the street because it's early enough in the morning, late enough in the evening that there's no cars. So right as I turn the corner, something jumps out in front of me, and I stop in my tracks because I'm like, what's this? And I'm not afraid because I don't know why. Because I was just kind of confused. That happens a lot. And but then I quickly it looked both looked like it was there and it wasn't there. It wasn't as solid. It wasn't 3-dimensional exactly. And a part of me was just kind of going, well, this isn't real. But then I did get scared because, and again, all this happened in the span of 5 seconds or more or less. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 4. Probably 4 seconds. Isn't it hilarious that I had to count that out? I don't know. Very quick. But then again, who the fuck knows? I don't know. It was months ago. What am I doing? What am I saying? So, the shadow didn't have as solid of a form. It wasn't 3-dimensional. But at the same time, it came up. I'm 5'7". So it came up to about here to me. But it didn't exactly have a human or humanoid form, but it did have 2 arms, and not a really, I couldn't make out the form exactly. And when my mind would play it back, it would play it back in a way that it was the form was kind of furry, hairy, not like this. This is too high up. So it was furry or hairy, and but like long hair like this, but kind of out. but not completely. Like, again, it wasn't like a solid form. I'm just trying to explain like how it kind of, it was both there and not there, and a shadow, it was dark. And I don't know if I've made this part up. I do think I recall it having glowing eyes, but the glow went, like, all of it was so quick. The glow went away quickly. And again, like, I just kind of stopped in my tracks because it really seemed like it came from the sidewalk and jumped in front of me and then kind of moved towards me and then kind of like disappeared. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And the way the fact that it came out the side, came in front of me, came up like towards me, and again, I don't know. I kept walking, and I looked over and I tried to like kind of grasp what just happened and what that was, and there's a part of me thinking there was a creature that just appeared, but I still wasn't. I was freaked out, but I wasn't at a 10 or even a 6 or 7. I just kind of was like weirded out. I was like, because it's at this point in my life, I just kind of assumed it was like a weird trick of my eyes. It wasn't until the whisper video where I described the person coming out, stopping, and I just kept my eyes on them. And this was after a lot of different tiny moments of shadow people, shadow creatures, and shadow animals or whatever. This was after like 3 or so instances, and I knew about sleep paralysis. I knew about eyes playing tricks on you. I knew about your mind playing tricks on you. I know about all these things. I know about taking hallucinogens and seeing shadow creatures and stuff like that. But again, like, a lot of the reason why really, I mean, I still get a little bit worried when I'm out walking around. I'm like, am I going to see something tonight? I hope not. But right now, everything's good. So I did at one point, like, when I walked further, I kept looking over and kept kind of replaying in my head, going like, what the fuck was that? Like, was that a thing? It's like, that wasn't a thing, obviously, because it's not real and everything. I would almost describe, if I took it from a shadow form and gave it form, I would honestly think chupacabra. Except, and it made me think, I wonder if that's where the chupacabra monster kind of comes from. If it's just a shadow creature person, a person whose minds are playing tricks on them, and seeing a kind of furry, formy, weird, humanoid, but not human creature, and then trying to like interpret it in your mind. And again, because it had like weird things coming from its limbs, like fur or like clumped fur or something, I don't know. So I listened to a Shadow People podcast. It's not all about shadow people, but episode 26, Shadow People, from Astonishing Legends. They watch us, they wait, lurking in the shadows or in bright daylight, from afar in the corner of our eyes or in our very own bedrooms, staring directly at us, sometimes with red eyes of red fire. They observe us and learn our behavior, or they try to choke the breath and souls from our bodies. But why are they here, and what do they really want from us, with us? Or are their sightings and interactions just a physiological or psychological anomaly? Hypnagogic or hypnopompic isolated sleep paralysis? a trick of the light, perhaps a wayward spark causing an electrical stimulation of the brain's left temporoparietal junction. I had to get it right. Temporoparietal junction. Maybe this phenomenon is only one of many unfortunate side effects of a bender. But then why do sober and healthy people also see them? Join us tonight as we explore what these uninvited paranormal intruders might be. Perhaps either interdimensional or bioelectrochemical, and why they seem to enjoy the abject terror they instill in us. In our second annual Halloween special, if these spectral watches are real, one thing is certain. They feed off our deepest, darkest fear. So, this is okay. There's a lot of show links. A very general overview of shadow people on Wikipedia. I'll link to the show below in the description. Art Bell radio episode on YouTube. I'll have to go and read these things and watch them. So this only occurred around the time of the month after I got out of the ER. And of course that itself was like scary to me because I'm a rational person, so I'm of course thinking, like, I don't know what the fuck these things are. I didn't ever think. That's not true. Part of me was like, I'm scared of this. I don't know what this is. This is scary. But a part of me was going, like, obviously there's got to be there's got to be a reason for this, and I don't know what it is. But it seems so real, and I'm not asleep or falling asleep, and I wonder if, because I was still experiencing symptoms afterwards. I was still experiencing lightheadedness. I was still experiencing, and I still do. I haven't been able to get to the doctor or get looked at in terms of that. I haven't had a sleep study done, which was also recommended to me. I downloaded an app on my phone and I started to listen to my snores, and I don't seem to snore excessively. I don't. There have been a couple times, specifically the last time I ate a ton of pizza. I ate a pizza and cheese bread from Domino's, and the next night, or something like that, maybe Little Caesars, I get cheap pizza. So the next night that I fell asleep, I do know I had moments of waking up going, like with a quick breath in. I'm trying to stay away from, what's it called? Not carbs, but whatever they have in cheese and stuff, cholesterol. There you go. So I'm trying to stay away from cholesterol. Obviously, pizza is not good for that, but I can't. I mean, I don't have much fun in my life. Okay, let me go back to Reddit and read some of the comments. So, hypnagogic when falling asleep. Hypnopompic is when you're waking out of sleep. There's been a couple times when I had dreams. And there's been one time that I had sleep paralysis. And I believed there was a being in the room that was going to try to kill me or something like that. Going to try to harm me. Now, one of the shadow creatures that I felt, the one with the red eyes, I thought that was trying to hurt me, or that it was like trying to scare me, but I didn't have my contacts in, and so part of me was just kind of like, I did stop in my, like it kind of came out and got right in front of me and kind of came up to me, and I was like, and then I was like, what the fuck was that? It kind of like disappeared and dissipated. but I wasn't like really scared, but I was just sort of more confused. And a part of me felt like it wanted me to be scared. So maybe in my way, maybe ADHD held me there. I was just confused. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like, nah, I can't fuck with you. I'm going on to someone else. But that was the one thing that did feel really scary about it, was that I felt like that one specifically, I felt like it wanted me to be scared. Like it had a belief. Now, it's interesting when I listen to the Shadow People podcast, which I think is called Astonishing Legends, episode 26, Shadow People, Astonishing Legends podcast. And they talked about how a lot of people that saw these entities had that feeling like that the entity had its own desires, like that, oh, they want to hurt me, or they want to do something, or they want me to do something. And that's how I felt as well. And obviously it still could be neurological, but it's freaky when it happens. And when it's happening in the moment, you don't feel like, it's like when you're dreaming. You only remember reality when you wake up and you're like, oh yeah, this is reality. But when you're, encountering something that's like a fucking like scary monster or something, you're not in that headspace of being like, oh no, that's not real. Like, you're like, that's real, and I feel like it's real, and it also does. I wonder if it's like connected with paranoia or something. And that was something that the Astonishing Legends podcast brought up. So yeah, okay. Someone writes, although it sounds like a frightening experience, there are things like sleep paralysis that are completely innocuous. That sounds similar. Does not feel innocuous. If it seems like more than just a fun story they share, then you might want to suggest they talk to a doctor and go from there. There's not really anything random internet strangers can say to help in this case. So this is the interesting thing, was that different. I didn't encounter a hat man. So in the Shadow People lore, there is a creature called the Hat Man. Someone writes, its characteristics, sleep paralysis. People often see him during episodes of sleep paralysis, where they are unable to move and may experience vivid hallucinations. Schizophrenia. He can appear in hallucinations associated with the disorder. Substance use. Some report seeing him under the influence of deliriants like DPH, diphenhydramine, or diphenhydramine, or something like that. Description. Usually described as a shadowy figure, often wears a hat, like a fedora or wide-brimmed hat. The one figure that I encountered, thing was far away from me, which was one reason why I wasn't extremely afraid, because it was like so far. And the one thing, like when I saw it, I turned around, and when I saw it, in a weirdly scientific, or like, I was like, I don't want to turn my back on this, and I don't want to blink, because this thing seems real, but a part of me assumes that it's in my head, and if I blink, then it'll go away the moment I blink. This was the second or a third or fourth or whatever. This was the last one that I saw, and it looked like a person. It had the dimensions of a human, and I wouldn't have been able to see a hat if it had a hat, because I don't believe I could have been wearing my contacts, but I don't know that I was. It was like something dumb that I do, but I often just walk around at night with really bad eyesight, and So the last instance of this description, besides often wears a hat like a fedora, or it says often, doesn't say always, can evoke feelings of fear or dread. I mean, if you see something like that, you're going to feel fear or dread anyways, you know? Understanding represents a common archetype in fear-based hallucinations, may symbolize deeper anxieties or fears within the subconscious. For me, again, I didn't have any fears in my subconscious. I mean, I have fears in my subconscious. But all this I'm feeling was way too connected with whatever was going on with my nervous system and heart and head and brain. And like they've said, there's like a connection with mini strokes, isometry or whatever it's called. They also say there's a connection with, you know, the thing when you get flashing lights, like having a seizure or having that kind of an epileptic seizure. Maybe I was almost experiencing. There is something, guys, it's so annoying. But like when I turn my head and stuff, I can feel. I wonder if there's a slip disc, and maybe the slip disc, like I can't make it happen on purpose, but when I'm walking around or doing something in my room and I'm kind of moving things around on my desk, and we're looking down, or I'm going to lift weights or drawing, making art, I'll feel a weird sensation. And I think it's all connected with whatever's going on with my nervous system, except when it was happening, it was 30 days, a month between when I was in the ER and a month later. And of course, when I'm seeing shadow people after I get out the ER, I'm like, oh my God, I was too close to death and they're coming for me. Understanding represents, okay, I said that common. The Hat Man is a frequently reported figure in both schizophrenia and sleep paralysis experiences. So, reasons for commonality. Archetypal imagery, the Hat Man may tap into universal fears like the fear of the unknown or being watched. Cultural influence, stories and media can influence what people see during hallucinations. Brain patterns. Certain recurring figures might be linked to how the brain processes fear and anxiety. The thing is, I didn't feel any fear or anxiety until I saw the thing. And at first I experienced nothing but confusion. It was only when I couldn't figure out what I was looking at that I was like, what the fuck? I'm afraid. Okay, so some psychological studies explore why similar figures appear across different cultures and experiences, suggesting a link to universal fears or archetypes. I go more with the brain. The brain tries to construct something because it sees something but it doesn't know, and so it kind of tries to construct something. One person writes, there's many different possible reasons for this experience your friend is having, and most of them aren't worrying. First, there are hypnagogic hallucinations. These are fairly common and only occur when someone is about to fall asleep. They aren't anything to worry about, although researchers aren't aware of what causes them, just that they can occur simultaneously with sleep paralysis, and can be more common for those with narcolepsy. There's the chance that this is just sleep paralysis, although by the details you've given and received from this person, it doesn't seem quite alike, since they don't describe feeling unable to move or physically uncomfortable in any way. There are other psychiatric disorders that could result in this, but it's far more likely that it's not related to any mental disorders and is just hypnagogic hallucinations. I often used to see these shadow figures when I was younger, from when I was very young until around 15. I usually never felt frightened by them, and I was able to move my body during the experiences. What? I still don't know what the experiences were, or what they were caused by, but I always saw the same figure, and a fairly common one, a tall figure wearing a brimmed hat. How do you not feel fear looking at that? I guess you're like 8. You're like, who's that? It's just a fucking shadow person. This phenomenon really interests me since it has occurred cross-culturally, where stories or myths wouldn't intertwine to allow for a transfer of information about the experience, but I simply believe that it is something that can happen to many people without serious consequences, because of something our brain is doing between the stages of wake and sleep. Virgo says it could be what's going on in his home. For one part of my life, I did recall seeing and experiencing terrible things described exactly the same. Once we moved out, we never had those experiences again. It could be something in the air, or it could be an incredible amount of stress that is preventing him from getting a good sleep. I'd rather worry it's his home life than to think something's wrong with his brain. Although I think I remember hearing about someone having hallucinations and experiences and then finding out they had a gas leak. So there's always that possibility. I live in a house that does not have any gas. Not leaky gas, no gas. So even though I can't read the person's initial comment, it sounds like I imagine the person who wrote the post, their friends were experiencing this when they were going to sleep or when they were waking up. Again, one of the things for me that was so freaky about it, because I know about sleep paralysis. I know about seeing scary things when you're about to fall asleep. One of the things that freaked me out about what I was seeing was that I was completely awake and lucid. I was not sleepy. When I say lucid, though, I do think I was maybe not getting blood going to my head all the way or something, and maybe having some type of something. But so I was like, when I die, am I gonna be terrorized while I'm dying? Is that what's gonna happen? I've also had experiences in the far past with hallucinogens, and every experience has not been fun. Is that what I meant to say? Every experience has been between scary and just not fun, not good. I don't like it. And it really sucked, because one of the reasons that I was experimenting with it and trying to use these hallucinogens and stuff as psychoactive substances was that I wanted to help myself and take the medicine. I don't really believe in the taking the medicine thing, but I again was hoping that it would do something with my neurons and kind of get my brain to move past some depression and the issues that I had at this point in my life. I realized that the issues that I was having was spurred on by being basically autistic, and I just was kind of dumb and didn't recognize what it was. And by being bullied for being being bullied because I was different, and going to therapy and not being there's a lot of stuff that kind of built up more and more, but I realized later on that the core of why all these other things happened or whatever was because of being autistic and ADHD. We'll read again. Shadow people normally appear during sleep paralysis. Again, sleep paralysis, yeah. If they are seeing them and at the time they can't move or they scream and nothing comes out, then it's sleep paralysis. If they see them and can move, then it's hypnagogic, hypnopompic hallucinations. All three scenarios are quite scary. It's probably happening because of the change of going through puberty. All three of these happen when going through a change of some sort, or when exhausted, and also if you're an anxious person. I don't know how to get rid of them, but they happen a lot less if you have plenty of proper sleep and rest. Tell them not to stay awake, just because they don't want to see them, because it's scary, honestly. More sleep will get rid of them. I wish I could find the article I read years ago where it described the most common sleep-related hallucinations, and I believe at the top was a tall shadow figure with glowing eyes. My most terrifying experience was when I was struggling to get my tax return completed for the deadline. I hallucinated a woman from HMRC standing at the foot of my bed with a clipboard. You really, or are you joking? Okay, so there's a load of people. Next comment. There's loads of people that mention Hat Man in our sleep paralysis subreddit, sleep paralysis. The glowing eyes figure is mainly talked about in the shamanic subreddit. This is so weird, but I was just listening to an interview and someone from the podcast Astonishing Legends said that they did an episode on shadow people and got loads of people messaging them saying they thought it was just them. Maybe worth checking out. Okay, apparently what's it called? Astonishing Legends is a D&D podcast. And I guess for their Halloween episode, they did the shadow people. I think your friend is lying and trying to mess with you, since he mentions that other friends of his experience the same. You can ask if he sees details of his hallucinations, and also how long does he see them. In my experience, long-lasting, very detailed and thick hallucinations are impossible without drugs. Mine were definitely not long-lasting, and I don't know what you mean by thick. But they were very quick, very short, brief. However, if he's not terrified and disturbed. To be fair, I have a sleep disorder and often enter REM while I am still eyes open and awake, not even trying to sleep. I just want to pee in peace. Add to that, my dreams are extraordinarily lifelike, complete with sounds, tastes, sense of touch, the whole 9 yards. So even though these dreams only last for a few seconds, in reality they feel like they last a very long time and are very detailed, and they often feel real. I know they aren't, and I'm very aware of the fact it's a dream, but there is also a dream. But there is also an undeniable physical sensations that go along with that make me feel like I am actively dying. All that said, I doubt that is what is going on with Ope's friend here. It's more likely they had some very common disturbances that can happen when a person is falling asleep, embellished it, saw other people were talking about something similar, and joined the bandwagon. I mean, this is one thing I can keep in mind is that maybe if I start to see shadow people again, Because again, this was like, it's months and months have passed, and there's a part of me going like, oh my God, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen again? Whenever I'm out walking, I literally walk at night, every night. And even after seeing the shadow people and shadow figures and shadow creatures, I was just like, no, I don't believe this. This isn't real. I'm not going to be scared of like going for a walk. I'm not going to do that. And I like to walk at night, and I need to get out and move around. And I live a very enclosed life right now. So it's been probably 3 or 4 months since all this went down. And I can't recall what month it specifically was, but it's been quite a while. This person, it's always difficult on Reddit when it seems like someone's speaking like they know what they're talking about, but some people are just really good at talking like they know what they're talking about. And in fact, they don't know. So there's a back and forth right now, and I'm not going to read all of it, but the one person says shadow people and other auditory visual hallucinations are way more prevalent than just schizophrenia. Because one person's like, this guy's a compulsive liar or schizophrenic, or, they could have a sleeping disorder, an anxiety disorder, a effing unknown allergy, or sleep apnea, disrupting a young person's quality of sleep without their knowing. That results in all sorts of sensory distortions. It could be from vitamin deficiency and or infection and or astigmatism. Astigmatism, that's an interesting one. Maybe if I did have a viral infection, maybe that was part of it. That could have led to the whole, maybe it was COVID. Maybe a year ago I caught COVID and it just hung out in my system. And maybe even what I was experiencing, what I thought was, I'm sure it was autistic burnout, actually. I had a massive autistic burnout. I was out traveling in the world. I was in mostly Thailand. And at the very end of it, I was like, because at the time I was trying to get a different life going, and it didn't work out, and I'll travel again in the future, but I don't know when. But maybe I definitely did get sick while I was traveling, and I'm sure one was COVID. It was way too prolonged and too much whatever. And once I was over it, I was like, okay, well, I'm over it. And however long later, maybe it just stuck around in my system, like I said, and just worked on slowly harming me. This is the one thing that I'll say. So one person wrote, honestly, a group of people seeing the same hallucinations was red flag. And that's true. Whatever other, that's a bit much. All right, so yeah. No one else said anything very interesting. I'm glad though that I've only experienced sleep paralysis probably once or twice, and I'm so glad that I don't experience it more often, because it is terrifying. And the only thing that got me through it was that I knew about sleep paralysis when it was happening. And so there was a part of my brain going, no, you know what's going on. You're stuck. And they say, and I remembered this, you try to wiggle your fingers or toes. And if you can wiggle your fingers or wiggle your toes, you'll get control back of your body, and then you'll wake back up. And that worked for me. So remember that if you ever have sleep paralysis. And I think that I'm done. This is my Shadow People episode. And I'm not... When I made the other video, the reason I didn't make it public was because I was still kind of like freaking out about it. And I was like, holy shit, I can't deal with this. And but luckily that was like after I made it. I was gonna wait and see if any other moments happened with shadow people or shadow creatures. And the moment that I made that video, or after I made that video, I never encountered anything else. So I felt weird about just uploading a video going, I'm scared, guys. Guys, I'm so scared. So, there you go. Hey, so spooky tale, maybe, by me. I wish I'd set it up differently, but I needed to keep those other videos because I know that as more time passes, I don't have the greatest memory. So, especially that first video where I'm whispering, I'm talking about the experience, I think it was important to keep around. And that's it. Thank you for watching. If you watched all the way through, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Bye-bye.